store memories related to those bonds, reactivate those memories when something similar happens later, store memories. So basically, you've got emotional bonds and you've got memories, and then you put them together. Let me write it down. So, emo bonds and memories. So, emo and memo are not the same for me, like English. Anyway, so let me write down some Chinese just for me to. Yeah, because what you feel is connected to what you remember, basically. Okay, because and this is general, but it put into the context of what's going on in the chemicals. So neuroscience basically said people remembers how you make them feel, not the real memories, not the real experience, but usually the experience of how you make them feel. That's in general. All right, I don't wanna read all those words. Chemical stuff, cortex. All right, attachment memory system basically is equal to when the two overlap. When you have how you bond and the memory get linked in the brain's wiring. And why this matters to the friend. And I didn't really, the simplest explanation, the brain does not store relationships as separate files. It stores them as emotional networks. That's why we need to network. Putting it here. That's why when we meet people in person, it gives you more meaning. When one part gets triggered, the whole network lights up. Okay, that makes a lot of sense even in real life. An analogy, it's like smelling a specific perfume and suddenly remembering an ex, a city, a vacation, a feeling, right? What is processed? The emotions. So finally, I asked this question. So when I say that, fully feeling, to put it very simple, it means fully feeling, understanding, and integrating an emotional experience. And here it's another word, integrating an emotional experience. So it no longer stays stuck or unfinished inside the mind and body. So personally, I feel it's like a very close person that's passed away and you had to finish the process. And it takes a long time to process and take all the emotional experience into your memory. So when you talk about it, you are not like, oh my God. I think that's what it means. So when emotions are unprocessed or stuck, this is what happens in many sudden or painful situations like breakup, trauma, or pregnancy loss. The feelings are overwhelming, the person avoids thinking about it, or has no one safe to talk to, or feels shame, or pushes it aside to survive, or wasn't ready to deal with it. When emotions don't get processed, they become buried, fragmented, confused, mixed with other experiences, re-triggered years later, stuck in the nervous system. When emotions are processed, it means the person has felt the feelings, understood what happened, talked about it, or reflected on it. Yeah. So it's interesting that there are so many trauma in my life that I also have the same problem. When emotions are processed, felt, it means the person has felt the feelings, understood what happened, talked about it, or reflected on it, made meaning of it, integrated into their life story. This is important. Reached some emotional resolution. Can think about it without collapsing. In the brain, this means the memory is stored normally. The emotional charge decreases. Emotional charge. The experience becomes in the past, not still happening. So this is important. When you're still feeling things are still happening in your brain, that's rumination. And when you finally process it, to feel it's in the past, not present, it's that you finally finished processing the emotions. So why processing matters neurologically? Emotional processing rewires all this amygdala. Now I have to read those things. Hippocampus, prefrontal cortex. These are actually very interesting. I'm gonna copy it into my notes too. I think it's here. Okay. Active threat. It allows the event to move from active threat, completed memory. When it doesn't get so it was 30. When it doesn't get processed, the brain keeps reacting like the event is still happening. That's why unresolved grief or trauma can show up years later, especially during those breakup, loneliness, another loss, losses, trauma bond ending, intense sex withdrawal. What unprocessed emotions feel like. People often say things like, I don't know why I'm reacting so strongly. This feels bigger than the breakup. I can't move on. Why do I miss him so much now when I didn't even love him then? I'm confused by my own emotions. It feels like losing something I can't name. And these are the signs, the emotions that belong to the past are resurfacing now. What processing looks like in real life. This can happen in many ways. Talking about pregnancy loss, journaling, crying safely, therapy, naming the feelings. I guess that's why I loved being home when I was like really young, like 6 to 12 to 17. I was home alone and crying safely. That feel good. I guess because if I cry, my mom hurts it. She will sometimes judge. Not my father hurt it, but if I just cry, there won't be anything. I remember lingering in the because I was living in the 7th floor, so on the way going up, I loved those moments. I was singing and crying calmly, and that was nice. Interesting. Okay. So you grieve, you accept the complexity, you acknowledge the pain. So your friend didn't process the pregnancy loss, the relationship intensity, and the breakup. Oh my God, it's so hard. So I asked how to process the emotions, step by step, how to process emotions. And I found both. So here ChatGPT gave me 2 responses, and I found both of them interesting. So I picked some to send it to her for sure. Give yourself permission to cry, to be quiet, to journal. Set aside time to be with the feeling, even if it's only 10 to 15 minutes. Use creative outlets, writing, drawing. Yeah, sometimes drawing, voice memoing your thoughts. Reflect on what the loss represented. Ask, what did the relationship, pregnancy situation symbolize for her? It can be safety, belonging, future identity. What was she hoping for? What part of her life did this touch? This helps move from just I miss him to I'm mourning what I lost. The narrative meaning making part is essential. Give structure routine to daily life. Grief disruption often shatters routine. Fixing small things helps. Sleep when you can, eat regularly, move your body. These aren't distractions. They provide a stable base from which to feel and heal. Connect with others or seek professional support. Yes, she is already on it. Use body mind aware practices. Emotions are stored in the body. Movement, breathe work, breath work. Mindfulness will help. Simple practices, deep breathing, noticing physical sensations, gentle exercise. This helps unstick the nervous system. Create rituals or symbolic acts. Writing a letter to the lost future or the relationship. Making a small ritual. Lighting a candle, planting a flower, creating a memory box. Wow, memory box is interesting. I remember that's how I said goodbye to some stuff. Put it in a box and make it really special. Put it away and tell myself never to think about it. And when I can, every year, I come back every year to look at it. It's interesting. 8. Recognize and accept that healing isn't linear. So there will be good days and bad days. That's normal. Sometimes you feel over it and then sudden triggers will bring it back.